further reduce the spread of COVID-19.
The U.S. has now confirmed more than 13.8 million cases since the pandemic began.
Certainly one of the troubling developments is how this virus is hitting our senior living facilities.
More Americans out of a job.
School classrooms are closed for the remainder of the 2019-2020.
The director of the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention is warning that this winter could be the, quote, most difficult time in our nation's public health history.
I'll never forget the day that we were told at the JCC to please go home, that all programming had to stop. And I was scared. We were listening to the news, didn't know how long it was going to continue and what it was going to entail.
I know that my wife and I struggled in those first few months to be supportive and be there for our kids, trying to put on a strong face for our children with everything that we had going on in the world.
The education system was affected. How we go and shop was affected. How we work is affected. Every system we know around us was basically falling apart.
The last 10 months has really shown how our community is resilient. We had pulled together and convened a health crisis management team who work with the most vulnerable in our community. There's been no roadmap or no guidance or directive, but we've been doing it together, and that's why we've been succeeding.
We went from serving 1,200 individuals a month to serving 3 times that in 1 week. Because of COVID-19, we've seen a huge increase in Jewish families in our community who need food, who need emergency financial assistance. I saw a woman sobbing in her car, and she shared that she had just lost her adult son, and you saw the pain. I just told her, thank you so much for coming here. You're gonna have Shabbat tomorrow, you will have that meal, and you will have that consistency that you need right now for your family. I talked to her about the grief support groups and counseling services that we have here. Then she shared that her husband, he lost his job. We were able to provide substantial resources, not just 1 month of rent, but a couple months to get them back on their feet, to get him back into a very challenging job market right now. So she left that day with a lot of hope.
There's one lady that comes to mind. She's in her mid-80s. She's a widow. She was impacted by the tornado, and it affected her emotionally. We at the J were her only family members and her friends. And when the pandemic hit, it broke our hearts. This is a person who, for want of a better word, would starve without us. From March till today, we've served close to 39,000 meals. And without the wonderful donors' support from the Federation, this would not be possible. The cost of kosher meals, kosher food products, packaging that we need, it is a vital service. It's clear. She's very grateful, and I am thrilled that we're able to fill this need.
We were in a business that never shut down because we serve the most vulnerable population and those that are most impacted by COVID and those that require 24/7 care. We had board members that helped us find PPE when it was felt almost impossible to find that. Same with the testing resources. And it would have been really hard to do that on our own without the backing of the Federation and the broader Jewish community.
The health crisis management team has been a lifeline to Hai and to me. The resources have been unbelievable, with meeting with Governor Abbott and Judge Jenkins and sessions on the PPP loan and how to fill them out.
We were able to exercise our relationship and lean on that relationship to not only acquire more PPE, but also to change legislation.
It was really important when the Federation reached out to Levine in the spring in the midst of a pandemic, when the campaign had not been completed, to let the school know that its core grant wasn't going to be reduced, it provided the school with some financial security that we were able to continue to carry on and carry forward our mission.
The Federation has always been there to support us, to lead us, to know that we're never alone and we'll be welcomed with an open heart. What could we do? How can we make things better for you? And just to know that you have an umbrella organization that's there looking out for everyone's needs, and that hasn't changed and it's only probably become stronger during this time, has really been unbelievable.
I know that with your support, there's flexibility to change and shift and accommodate the needs based on new research and what we're learning about in this pandemic.
Without the generous support of donors from the Federation, programs like our campus engagement, internship, and so many other of our most innovative and creative programs just couldn't take place, and we wouldn't be able to reach as many students as we do now.
Federation CJE continues to play an integral role to help our schools navigate through this pandemic because it isn't over. We still need to get through this.
This is the first time in history that Jews in Dallas, in Israel, and throughout the world are facing the same crisis at the same time. We continued with the relationships with our overseas partners to ensure the most vulnerable living around the world and in Israel, their needs were also met. Our community security initiative did not take a leave, did not go dormant just because we're all virtual. Actually, quite the opposite. 27 site assessments to ensure that our buildings, our physical Jewish entities, are safe. The day in, day out work of the Federation did not stop. All that it did was expand. Thank you. You are the Jewish Federation of Greater Dallas. You are enabling us to be here for you and to be here for good.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
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 Thank you from the bottom of my heart.
Thank you.
As you've heard this evening, the Jewish Federation of Greater Dallas has played a key role as the convener for our community. Because of the Federation's Jewish Community Relations Council, its Center for Jewish Education, and its unique ability to harness the collective to act on behalf of the community, your Federation has helped the entire landscape of the Jewish community in Greater Dallas to navigate an unimaginable time. We are more than a fundraising allocations organization. We are the scaffolding for the community, providing the necessary, ever-solid foundation and safety net on which everything else in our community is made possible. Our Federation has been building and sustaining the Jewish community here in Dallas for more than 110 years. Over the span of that time, we came together to confront what must have seemed like insurmountable challenges at the time, whether it was helping settle refugees from the horrors of the Holocaust, assisting Jews fleeing the repression of the former Soviet Union, rescuing Jews fleeing persecution in places like Yemen or Ethiopia, or contributing to the development and security of the reborn state of Israel. Our community has come together through our Federation to meet each of these challenges head on and seize the opportunity to make a difference for the Jewish people here, in Israel, and around the world. The global pandemic has now brought yet another major challenge, and this time, right here in our own community, in our lives. So many of our neighbors, family, and friends are suffering. They've lost their livelihoods or seen their incomes reduced. They've lost loved ones. And many more face mental health challenges brought on by anxiety, isolation, and depression. Our day schools, JCC, and synagogues and other communal organizations are dealing with reductions in tuition, dues, and programmatic fees necessary to fulfill their missions. The result is more members of our community living in the margins and fewer with the capacity to contribute as they have in the past. For the rest of us, those who have been blessed with sustaining our incomes and assets, such as our homes, retirement plans, and stocks that have held up so well during this pandemic, this is the opportunity to make a meaningful difference as you are needed now more than ever. Our community needs each of us to step up to fill the gap of those who cannot contribute as they have in the past and to provide for the increase in demand for services. Together, we can ensure that our Federation is in a strong position to continue building our community for the next 110 years. We must be like architects, able to look beyond the present moment and envision a strong and vibrant future. We can and will emerge from this crisis, leading the way for our Jewish community and making way for the future generations to continue to build what we can't even imagine is possible. As we saw in the video, our Federation touches our lives in many different ways. The Federation has been an important part of my life since birth. Were it not for our Federation, I would have one less brother, as my brother Jeffrey was adopted through Jewish Family Services with the support of the Federation. I would not have been able to play youth basketball at the JCC, attend JCC summer camp, or travel to Israel on a teen tour in high school. My great-grandmother living community for Jews here in Dallas, and my children wouldn't have been able to attend Jewish day school. And had it not been for our Federation, I never would have met my wife. And at a time of rising anti-Semitism and violence, I'm grateful for the Federation's leadership in launching the Community Security Initiative, which helps to better protect institutions, including the school where I drop off my children each day. I hope each of you will reflect on how our Federation has impacted your life and the lives of countless others. After a tornado and a global pandemic, two unforeseen circumstances that have upended our Dallas Jewish community in rapid succession, it's impossible to say exactly where this year will take us. But as someone who has built his life in Dallas, a life that has been touched at so many stages by the Federation's work, I say with confidence that COVID-19 can't stop us. The sign says it best. The Federation is here for you and here for good. We're going to keep dreaming, keep planning, and keep building. We will continue to support this community through every future crisis and beyond, from strength to strength. If you haven't already, you should be receiving a text about your 2021 Federation Annual Community Campaign Pledge. Please take a moment to check your texts and respond with your commitment to this year's campaign. If you requested a printed pledge card, please take it out now, complete it, and mail it back in the envelope provided. If you prefer to pledge online, you may visit jewishdallas.org/donate. Your community needs you now more than ever. Please join me in responding, Hineni, I am here, by standing up to make a meaningful gift tonight. We need you. Every person in this community is part of building a stronger Jewish Dallas, and every dollar counts. Thank you.